This is Malia reporting at California Highway Patrol in the Running Springs area, and I am here with Lieutenant Salinas. And the community has asked some questions, and we're here to get some answers. So, if you could introduce who you are, and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Michael Salinas. I'm the area commander of the Arrowhead area. I've been with the CHP for approximately 18 years, about 5 years as a supervisor in the Arrowhead area, and I've been the area commander since October 2018.
Okay, so we went to Facebook and we asked the community what questions do they want answered, and here they are. Why don't you use Citizens Patrol more?
So Citizens Patrol is more of a Sheriff's Department program. The CHP, we utilize a program called the Senior Volunteer Program. And that program is for individuals 55 plus. And they assist the Highway Patrol with clerical duties, help our PIO out at different events, and they also patrol the areas. However, when they patrol our areas, they're only in a observing factor. They cannot take any enforcement action, and if they see something, they report it back to our officers, and we deploy officers that way.
Okay, thank you. What can we do about people driving wrong way on Highway 18?
So on Highway 18, there are signs posted at the top and bottom of the highway, and if members of the public do see individuals driving the wrong way, I highly encourage them to call 911, provide our dispatchers with the description of the vehicle if they can, and the exact location of the wrong way driver. And at that point, our dispatch will dispatch our officers to that location to try to intercept that driver.
Okay, why are headlights not being enforced?
In the Arrowhead area and throughout the High Patrol, we enforce all violations that we do see. When our officers are out on patrol, they're looking for moving violations, they're looking for mechanical violations, they're looking to assist members of the public if they're either stranded or their vehicle broke down.
This was asked multiple times. We don't have enough officers on the mountain, and why not? Can we get extra officers during busy times?
So during busy times, seeing that the CHP is a statewide agency, we can reach out to our surrounding areas to get additional officers up here. And we have done it in the past, and we currently do it with upcoming storms. However, for staffing levels, the CHP is hiring, and we are looking for individuals, especially individuals from the mountain area who would like to work where they live. And the best option for them is to go to chpcareers.com for all the hiring information, as well as they could contact my PIO officer, Greta, at the Arrowhead area office, and he'll be gladly to assist them in the hiring process.
Okay, why don't you implement no parking on road signs during snowstorms or at any time?
So with the signage on the roadways, if the signs are posted, my officers out there are enforcing the law. A new change that just happened this past year with parking citations, the county of San Bernardino reassessed the fines for no parking. So for example, a normal parking at a no parking sign previously was approximately $20. That fine now has increased to $150. So with that, we're hoping that will limit the no parking violations in our area.
Okay. Is there a way for citizens to report a drunk driver that an officer will respond to?
Yes, just like with the wrong way drivers, if they suspect anybody is driving under the influence, have them call 911, which will go to the CHP dispatch. And again, if they could provide a description of the vehicle, a license plate, if they could get a description of the driver, direction of travel, and give that to our dispatcher, that is when their dispatchers will dispatch our officers to that location to look for that vehicle.
Okay, and one of the main questions is, when there's a large storm, can you limit the roads to residents only until the roads are clear enough for the public to come up?
So with road closure or with roads all throughout the state of California, they are public highways, so we cannot close them to residents only. In the past, we have done it for certain occasions where, for example, when Snow Valley was closed, there was no purpose for people to drive all the way up to Snow Valley and then get turned around. So it is a case-by-case basis when it can be done. We try to rarely do it because they are public highways, and our goal with the CHP is to keep all roadways open at all times.
CHP and Caltrans communicate better, and when they do, what is CHP doing about vehicles blowing through chain control that don't have chains on?
So the first part, we do have a good working relationship with Caltrans. We regularly meet weekly or daily depending on storms. All my supervisors have personal contact with the Caltrans supervisors. So during storms or rock slides or any issues with the roadway, they can communicate directly to that.
Okay, and then the second part of the question was CHP being out of chain control and vehicles blowing through the chain control with no chains on.
So when chain control is set up, normally my officers are at chain control. So if they are observe the violation, the driver will be cited. As well as if they're on regular patrol, and even though it's not in chain control at the chain control station, if they see them driving around the area without chains, my officers can stop and take enforcement.
Does CHP enforce vehicles not using chains during a snowstorm? And if so, what is the vehicle code?
Yes, my officers are out there actively enforcing chain control. And the section they would cite is 27459 of the California Vehicle Code.
So this is Malia here with Mountain Reporter. I am at the CHP office in Running Springs with Terry Kasinga, Donald Elms, and Scott Swift, all from Caltrans. And the public has asked some questions, so we are coming to you to get some answers. The first question that they are asking, why do you need to put chains on miles before the snow starts?
Do you want me to handle it?
I want you to
Okay.
hear that.
So we have certain areas that we are allowed to use for chain control due to the topography in the mountains. We can't do that everywhere. There's got to be a safe place for people to install. We have to provide a safe place for the chain installers to work, and a safe place for our employees to set up chain control. So unfortunately, the examples, 38, there's only 3 locations that are considered safe to use. 330, there's 3 locations, and 18 has how many, Scott?
Two.
2.
Two below the cliffhanger.
2 below the
Yes.
cliffhanger. So those are the areas we work to try and get more suitable, but that would require getting permission from forestry, getting more land to put in those areas. So that's the restrictions that we have.
Okay. A second question is going to be, what do you guys do about people parking in the chain install areas and leaving their vehicles?
Well,
We're not law enforcement, so
Yeah.
that would be a law enforcement issue, but as far as I know, there's no regulation that I'm aware of that prevents them from doing so.
unless there's a no parking sign or something, then they would, could be towed.
They'd have to be identified, they'd have to be tagged as abandoned vehicles, and then you've got to there's a time restraint. Again, that's a law enforcement issue more than Caltrans.
Okay, so let's touch base on the no parking. The community is upset about people parking on the roadway and in front of no parking signs along all major highways.
So recently, the county has enacted new legislation. They've upped the parking penalty to $150 to try to discourage, up from $15. So we are looking, I've actually reached out to our traffic ops center to see if we can add that fine to the signs to educate the public. But again, for us, it's more of a enforcement issue. If they're blocking the snow plow, those are already posted. That's a $250 fine. So again, it becomes enforcement. Caltrans is not enforcement, so we notify CHP or sheriffs depending on whose jurisdiction it is, and they address that.
One of the things that the public usually asks for is additional no parking areas or signs. And they think that Caltrans can just initiate that and go put signage in. It's actually a county ordinance that needs to take place before we can place any no parking signs. So if the county is interested, or even the CHP could come up and bring up, well, we need a no parking sign here. It goes through the county as an ordinance so that it's an enforceable no parking fine. And then we work with the county, and then we install those signs once it's passed.
Okay. Can Caltrans and CHP communicate better when there's a road closure or chain conditions in effect? It's not called chain conditions. What's it called?
Chain control.
Chain control in effect.
Okay, well, Caltrans and CHP are continuously communicating. I don't think there's, where we can say, oh, we need to improve on this. We're always talking. Our crews and the CHP officers that are out there are working together whenever they go to chain control or any road closures. It's usually not one decision of Caltrans or CHP unless there's an emergency situation. I know that a lot of people bring up the Thanksgiving storm. That was a very difficult storm. We had a lot of snow, and there were some things that people saw as, oh, this didn't work well. We don't like that this happened. The road's closed, or people didn't plow the highway, or CHP didn't get the vehicles towed. There was a lot of things that came into play during that storm and why some of those things happened or didn't happen. There was a lot of snow, and there was physically and logistically no way to get some of the things done that needed to get done. However, we did meet with CHP face to face at a very high level the Monday after Thanksgiving, and we had a hot wash over the storm incident. Did we make some changes after that? Yes, some changes were made. We did things a little bit differently. And then when we got the storms over Christmas and New Year's, there actually was no incidents. Now, I get that the snow wasn't as heavy during those two storms as the Thanksgiving storm, but we had a very smooth holiday. And at times there was 230,000 vehicles up in Big Bear at one time during that holiday week over Christmas and New Year. And no roads closed, and we did not have the issues that we had during the Thanksgiving storm. Don or Scott, do you want to?
I'd also like to say we have a pre-season meeting with CHP and all the CAL FIRE and all the fire agencies, so we are communicating. I think one of the issues, and I think mountain folks are aware of it, we have dead zones up here where phones don't work, radios don't work, so it is a struggle always to get communications, and we can always improve. There's always room for improvement, but we do communicate with our partners. We do meet pre-winter. We have the hot washes after when we have incidents. So we're doing what we can, to keep that communication at the level it needs to be.
Yeah, I think the communication is good. I just think it's about logistics and making improvement on some of the field operations, maybe doing things differently. And times change and traffic changes, and so I think that's what happened after this one storm event. Now, I can say, I wanted to talk about this. As a result of that Thanksgiving storm, there were some concerns from city officials, the county maybe, including the resorts, as high as the governor level, about what happened up here, what did happen, what didn't happen. As a result of that, we're now working closely with CHP. We've had one meeting up in the city of Big Bear with their officials, the ski resorts, the chambers, and what we're going to be doing is forming a mountain task force. It's going to be called the Mountain Task Force, and we're going to be implementing members, a small group on that task force from Wrightwood all the way to the Angeles Oaks area, representatives from those areas, including the city officials, county officials. And we're going to be working together to come up with ideas or thinking outside the box to do things that make things easier, or come up with new ideas that can be done during these heavy storm events. Along with that, we're going to be working with the city and the county on a memo of understanding, MOUs, to see if there's anything we can do they want to provide assistance in some areas during the storm when we can't get all the snow plowed or maybe within the city limits. And so we're going to be working on some of those memo of understandings with the city and with the county and seeing if there's anything we can do to expand the service up here. But one of the things that we want to make really clear is that when you have that many people in a town or an area that maybe only holds 5,000 or 10,000 people, there's going to be traffic situations. There's going to be people that are stuck in, issues with the chains, issues just with capacity. And so that's what happens. A lot of times the roads close themselves because of that. But we definitely want to continue with our network up here and make it better. We do meet with the city of Big Bear Chamber and all of the emergency responders in that area once a month. That's been going on for over 20, probably about 15 to 20 years now. Okay. And I've been a part of that task force. So we're just going to do small break-off groups from that and focus on some of these other issues that we want to see improvement, not just from Caltrans and CHP, but also from the cities and maybe the county. It's more kind of the cities. What can they do to maybe provide service to their visitors, or we want to do the outreach together and make sure that everybody's getting word before they come up here. They need to be prepared.
Okay. Do you have any other?
Can you answer that one? Or?
Okay, so another question that we got is when there is a chain control that is up and it is not manned, meaning there is nobody from Caltrans or CHP, does the public need to follow those signs? So when it says road closed, or when it says chain control in effect, how do we answer that?
So the answer is yes. Those signs are placed. They are enforceable. So even if they're not manned, and we may have some situations from sometimes where we can't get our personnel to the appropriate location because we're stuck like everybody else. So if the signs say chains required, you must chain up, then you must chain up. It's no different than not adhering to a speed limit sign or a stop sign or any other sign that's out there.
Okay, and then the final question is, during the Thanksgiving storm, there were rumors going around that Caltrans was taking our plows from the mountain community and sending them to the Cajon Pass. Can you touch on that a little bit?
So that is false. We have resources in each location. If we need additional resources, we pull from the metro regions. But as Terry has said a moment ago, when it comes to 15, that's separate from the mountains. So 15 is our primary route. 138 and 2 are our secondary routes. So if it gets really bad, we will pull from 138 and 2 to support 15 to keep the Cajon Pass open. But that is entirely separate from the mountains. So we don't pull resources from the mountain to the pass.
And I would like to add that we actually employ 2 plow trucks from a valley yard that run from the bottom of 330 to chain control and from the bottom of 18 to 18 chain control. And that way our plow trucks that are chained up don't have to go down below chain control and get stuck in the traffic. So we've alleviated that zone there where our trucks are able to keep moving. So we actually bring vehicles from the valley to help.
Okay, thank you.